Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ange if you haven't met me before, and today we're going to be doing my entire philodendron collection. So I definitely have quite a few philodendrons. As I was writing down each and every one of them, I was like, geez, I actually have quite a few. So this is definitely going to be a longer video, so grab yourself a snack and let's jump into it. Okay, let's just start off with some general care tips for philodendron. Luckily, I find philodendrons very easy to take care of generally. There are some that I find a little bit more difficult than others, but I would say on a broad kind of note, they are quite easy to take care of and good for beginners. Definitely, they're not a super thirsty plant in my opinion. I always water mine when they get about 90% dry so that we're not getting any root rot issues. I have noticed that when I overwatered my philodendron, when I watered them when they were still a bit moist, they did get a little bit of root rot and got a bit soggy. So I would recommend only watering them when they are 90% dry. And you can use a moisture meter or your finger, whatever you find easiest, but just let them dry out. For soil medium, I find that they really thrive in something that has a lot of aeration. So typically when I'm potting up my philodendrons, I will use my premium potting mix, which is just a normal indoor potting mix. And then I will mix it with some perlite and also some orchid bark and a bit of charcoal. These three things together make sure that the soil is really, really airy and it's not holding onto moisture for too long. You can tell that your soil is really free draining when you water it and the water kind of comes out straight away. If it's getting stuck in the pot, it can mean that either the soil is too compacted or it is very, very dense. So I would stay away from a lot of peat moss and stuff in your soils. Just give them something really airy, water them when they're dry, and they'll be super happy. Lighting wise, I find that philodendron can live in some bright indirect light and then also some low light. Not all varieties will kind of thrive in low light, but if you Google a philodendron, a lot of them can be in low light. So I personally have just one in my collection in a really low light spot because it's a pretty common houseplant. I don't really mind if it doesn't thrive, but it is doing super well. The leaves will obviously be a little bit smaller and it won't grow as quickly in low light, but if you want something for that dark corner in your house, then a philodendron might be the way to go. All right, so now that we've gone through a few different care tips, let's jump into my actual collection. So I'm gonna start off with all the philodendrons that are in my living room, and then I'm gonna go grab the others. So let's just start off with the philodendron that is directly in front of me. And that is my Philodendron Pink Princess. So you may have seen this in my last video where I did a plant haul. So this is a plant that I got from my mom and it is just a cutting, but it has been in water for about almost 2 weeks, I want to say, and we have successful root growth. So those are the roots here, and I love how the roots on this are also like that pinky red color. It's pretty cute. Most of the time you see roots, they're like white, but if you can see that, they are red, which is really exciting. This one, it does not have the most pink on it. It only has a tiny amount of pink variegation there. I do have some other stem cuttings propagating outside on my balcony, and they have a little bit more pink in the stem. So hopefully they become a little bit more pink than this guy is. The next philodendron is also one that I got recently, and that is my beautiful Philodendron Burle Marx. So this guy has a really beautiful, unique leaf shape. It is a little bit more elongated, and I love how shiny the leaves are. This plant has about 4 plants in the pot, so I do believe when it grows up, it's going to be beautiful and bushy. Obviously, I haven't had it for very long, so I can't really say if it is a quick grower or not. I've only had it for about 2 weeks, but so far it is looking fabulous. It did come with its own little moss totem pole thingy, so I'm really happy about this one. My next philodendron I've had for quite a while now, I want to say about 1.5 years, and that is my beautiful Philodendron Brasil. So this guy actually started off as a really small plant. It only had about 3 leaves in the pot, but progressively over the year or so that I've had it, I have chopped and propped. I also bought one other plant to put in there, which was like another 3-leaf plant, because it was looking so bare, so I really wanted it to bush out a little bit. But I absolutely love the Brazil. Every single leaf looks different, like the variegation is different. You can see it's got like a nice lighter lime color and then a darker green on the outside. And I do find this one quite a quick grower and very easy to propagate. Every time I've propagated it, I've put it just in a glass of water, and within maybe 3 weeks, it's ready to put into soil. I don't really wait for the roots to get massive before I put plants into soil though. So if you are a little bit more scared, you might want to wait about a month or two for the roots to get really long. But yeah, I absolutely love this. I love how sometimes the leaves come out really just completely variegated, and then other times it is completely green. I really like that look in a plant. I don't like everything to look the same. It just looks a little bit more natural to me. At some point when this gets more bushy, I may put it on a totem pole, but I don't really have that much floor space, so at the moment it's just sitting in front of my TV in some bright indirect light, and I absolutely love it. So another plant that I've had for quite a while, I want to say about a year, is my Philodendron Birkin. And this guy, I will say, is a very quick grower. Excuse the little broken leaf here. But I find that it spits out new leaves constantly, like one after another. And I did get this one when it was a fairly small plant, and now it has grown out into this big, beautiful, bushy plant. The leaves come in very white and variegated, and then as the leaves mature, it settles down to this darker green with a little bit of white kind of veining on it. But I think that makes it even more striking. My favorite is when the leaf is kind of like at this stage where it's faded down a little bit, but it's not completely dark green yet. I believe this one has about 3 Birkins in the pot here. And yes, this pot is a little bit too big for this plant, but you know, I kind of just wanted to put it in a large pot so I didn't have to think about it. It was really thirsty. I found that I was watering it every like 2 to 3 days or so, and I really don't have time for that. So now that it's in this big pot, I water it like once every 2 weeks, and it's absolutely fine. It's acclimated in my space, and I find this one a really rewarding philodendron to have in my collection. The next plant I'm going to show you is a philodendron that is not exactly thriving in my collection. So that is my Philodendron Narrow, I believe it's called. It is so large. I don't know if I can get it in the frame, but it's got these beautiful, like jagged, serrated edges. I'm so sorry about the condition of the leaves. It has got into so many fetch accidents with my dog. But that's just life. Like if you play fetch inside, something is going to get broken, and it tends to be this plant. But every time it puts out a new leaf, the new leaf like rots away and dies. So I believe that's what's happening here. Like you can see it's starting to go black in the stem, and that's the second leaf that's happened to this plant. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on. We have a little bit of an older leaf that is dying off, so I'm not too fussed about that one, but I'm not too sure why the new leaves just keep dying. I hardly water this guy. I probably water it every 2 weeks again. It doesn't dry out very quickly, but I don't know. So not every plant can thrive in my collection, and this is definitely not one that is thriving, but I absolutely love it, so I am gonna keep trying with this one. So this philodendron here is my Philodendron Rojo Congo. And this is the only philodendron I have that lives in low light. So you can see that the leaves are progressively getting a little bit smaller as the new leaves that are grown are in low light. But I absolutely love having something in my house that I can keep in low light, because there is not much that will survive there in my collection. Traditionally, this one would have a little bit more red in the new leaves and in the stems, but I believe because it is in such a low light situation, it mostly just comes out green. But I absolutely love how shiny these leaves are, and I mean, it does really well. It's not the fastest grower, but it is absolutely stunning, and it is a striking plant in my collection. Also very easy and affordable, so you can get these at your local Bunnings for like $10–15 for something smaller, and they're just so easy. Like I don't think you're gonna kill this one. So all the next philodendrons I'm going to show you are philodendrons that live in my kitchen. And we're going to start off with my newest baby in my collection. And that is my absolutely stunning, gorgeous Philodendron Atabapoense. And I absolutely love this guy. And I don't love it just because it's rare or expensive. I just absolutely love the striking leaf shape. It is unlike any other philodendron I have in my collection. The leaves are so long and elongated, and then the backs are this beautiful reddy maroon color. And I've only had this for about 3 weeks now. So obviously, again, I can't say if it is a quick grower or a slow grower, but we have had one new leaf come out in my care. It is this one here, and we have a new growth point just here. I don't even know what else to say about it other than it's absolutely striking. Look at that leaf pattern. And at some point I do want to add a Philodendron Billeti into my collection, which looks very similar to this one. But for the moment, I am very happy with my Atabapoense. The next plant on my philodendron list is this beautiful Philodendron Florida. And I believe this one is a hybrid of your Philodendron pedatum and Philodendron Squamiferum, which I will show you later in this video. But it has the beautiful, unique leaf shape. Look at that. It is absolutely stunning. It just looks so weird looking, and the leaves always come out so shiny. I've had this guy for a few months now, and I do think it is a moderately fast grower. It does put out new leaves quite... Cash is just stealing my clothes. It does put out leaves quite often, and I do find it quite easy in my collection. I love how the leaves start off very normal philodendron shaped, and then they morph into something more unique looking. So that is definitely a cute one. We have a little bit of fuzziness to the petioles, but it's definitely not as fuzzy as your Squamiferum. But I love this. And one day I hope to get the variegated Philodendron Florida in my collection, but I ain't made of money right now, and they're going for like $800 at the moment. So we'll be fine with just my beautiful green one. This plant here is my gorgeous Philodendron Neon or Philodendron Gold Cordatum. I want to say, gosh, I get so confused. This one is a very unique color. So the new leaves come out this beautiful yellowy gold color, and then as it matures, it goes into this pale green, which I think is just absolutely striking. And in amongst all the other really darker green plants, this plant just pops. It pops. And it is absolutely beautiful. I like having this one trailing. I don't think I will ever put it up a totem pole or anything. I think it just looks so beautiful and luscious. This one I don't find in my care is a really fast grower, but it's not super duper slow either. So about a moderate growth. I don't find it's particularly thirsty, and I keep this one in about medium light. But I do think if you gave it a bit more of a brighter light situation, the leaves would come out a little bit bigger, and it would be a little bit more yellow and golden. But I absolutely love this one. It can be my new hair. Love it. And the last philodendron I have in my kitchen is this Philodendron Mexicanum. This one I bought as an unrooted cutting, and it has since rooted up and created a bunch of new leaves for me. But this specimen is a very juvenile plant. So as the plant matures, it will get more of this lobe, this lobular kind of look to it. I will post a picture if I can find one. I found this plant so easy to propagate. It honestly grew roots in like 2 weeks, and it was ready for soil, and it was in the middle of winter. So I was very, very shocked. I find this one quite a moderate grower. It puts out new leaves quite frequently, but it's not the fastest growing philodendron in my collection. At the moment, it looks just quite basic plant, normal, but I am very, very excited for when it matures and gets those beautiful lobes. And I know this one is a little bit harder to find, so I would definitely recommend buying this as a cutting, because in my experience, it was really easy to root up, and it is a lot more affordable as a cutting. The next 3 philodendrons I actually keep in my bathroom, so they are bathed in constant humidity. And the first one is my beautiful Philodendron Camposportoanum, or however you pronounce that. And this one It is really unique because it is a morphing philodendron. So what that means is the juvenile form of this plant come out with leaves that look more like a Philodendron Micans, and then as the plant matures, it grows out these lobes and it loses a little bit of its velvetyness. So it kind of looks more like a Syngonium when it grows up, which I think is really cool. Like you get these two very different looking plants. So this one has two different plants in the pot, and again, I bought this one as cuttings. I found this one a little bit slower to root up than my Mexicanum, but it still rooted up fine. This one also does not put out leaves very often, so I've got to say that this has got to be a slower grower for me, even though it is in bright indirect light. However, I found it's quite easy to take care of. I just water it when it's dry. It's not a fussy diva or anything. But I love this plant, and I'm excited for one day to get a massive plant on a moss pole. This plant is my pride and joy, and this one is my beautiful Philodendron Pastazanum. And if you can just look at that leaf, you can see why. It just looks like a beautiful green pillow. You just want to lay your head down on it. It is absolutely gorgeous. This one, again, not a super fast grower, but when it does grow, it puts out beautiful leaves and it's so rewarding. I have been keeping this in my bathroom just to make sure it has that nice humidity because I want this guy to thrive. I think I will be repotting it into a larger pot very, very soon. Having these in terracotta makes me have to water it so often. Like it's dry and I watered it 2 days ago. But it's got these beautiful heart-shaped leaves, very similar looking to like a Gloriosum, but without that velvetiness. So if you love pillowy looking leaves, you gotta get this in your collection. So pretty. Sad story time now. This is my Philodendron Silver Cloud, and unfortunately, there's hair on it. Unfortunately, it suffered some root rot, and I noticed that it was looking very saggy looking, pulled it out of its pot, and there were like no roots there. So unfortunately, I had to cut everything off, and it has been in water for the last week, but we've got some successful roots. So I am so, so happy. I literally thought I was gonna lose this plant, and I was really sad because they're very expensive in Australia right now. At the time I got this for $40. It's not a big deal if I had to replace it for that price, but at the moment they're like $150 about to get a same size cutting. But it has that very beautiful looking pillowy heart shape, just with some beautiful silver variegation. So I absolutely love this plant, and I am hoping it bounces back quickly. I mean, that root growth is real fast. I think it's because it is quite warm now in the spring and it's getting some bright indirect light with some humidity, but please pray to the plant gods for me that I don't lose this because it is absolutely stunning. The next lot of philodendrons all live in my bedroom, so they get average humidity but bright indirect light. And the first one is a plant that I started from cuttings again, and this is a Philodendron Micans. So if you remember the Philodendron Camposportoanum, which had those changing morphing leaves, this is the plant that it looks like in its juvenile form, and it is absolutely stunning. We've got very, very velvety soft leaves, and they come out more this like burnty, orangey, lighter green color. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 cuttings in here. This is still a cutting that doesn't look that happy, but it's rooted up, and I think it has produced a new growth point in there. It's hard to see. So when that grows out, I'll cut that guy off. But this one took a long time to root. It actually frustrated me. It was very, very slow. But since taking off and putting out their new growth point, it is actually a quick grower. So I got 2 new leaves and this one in the past 3 weeks, I want to say. So that is quite good. And I absolutely love how velvety it is. The cuttings that I got had some massive leaves. Like, look at that giant leaf for a Micans. So I'm hoping that I can get my Micans leaves to be this large in the future, but I am very, very happy with this one. And I'm so happy that it's springtime now. Like, every plant that I have is growing crazily. One of my other pride and joys, and this one is not a rare baby, it is my Philodendron Squamiferum. So this one in Australia you can get from your Bunnings big box stores for like $10 to $15, and I absolutely love it. It has that really unique leaf shape, and this was the parent of the Philodendron Florida that I showed you before, but it has these hairy petioles. Look at that, like it's so creepy but so cute. I recently purchased another Squamiferum to put in this pot to make it look nice and bushy, so that is why we have two different growth points going on, and I feel like this new leaf is going to be really big, so I'm so excited. I find this one a moderately fast grower, not super quick, but very easy to take care of. Just water it when it's dry, and she ain't a diva, so we love her. This one is a stunner. It is my Philodendron White Princess. So very similar in growth habit and look to your pink princess, but instead of pink variegation, it is white variegation. And my one here is not the most white variegated specimen, but I still love her. This is currently 2 plants put in the same pot because I wanted it to look nice and bushy. And we have some new growth, but look at this really weird looking new leaf. Like, it's tiny. Can you put out something that's a little bit more, you know, show-stopping? Thank you. But I absolutely love it. I haven't had this one for very long, I would say about a month now, so I'm not going to give you guys any tips on how I feel about this growth-wise, but so far so good. We haven't had any tantrums. I repotted it and she all good. If you can find this one, I would definitely recommend getting it. In Australia, you can get it at Bunnings and things like that, but I do think they sell out quite quickly. Those people with their plants are crazy. The next plant I have a definite love-hate relationship with, and that is the beautiful, the stunning Philodendron Gloriosum. So unlike the other philodendrons I have, this one is like a creeping or crawling philodendron, so it doesn't climb up a moss pole, but it has absolutely stunning, pillowy, velvet leaves. Like, they're soft. And this guy, I find this one hard to take care of, to be honest. I've heard other people saying it's quite an easy care plant, but for me, she ain't that easy. She's a little bit of a diva. Like, we get some brown tippage and yeah, I don't know. And maybe she doesn't have enough humidity in my bedroom. Like, maybe I should move her into my bathroom. So if you have any care tips for me, then definitely leave them in the comments below. But I also find her a very slow grower. In the 4 months that I've had her, she's put out 1 leaf. We now have a growth point though, so that's a plus, but definitely a slow grower. But I still love her, but I just kind of wish she would do something more, like grow baby grow, because I give you all my love. Can you like give me something back in return? I know these ones are quite popular at the moment. People are all trying to get their hands on it. And if you can find it for a decent price, I definitely would recommend. However, I wouldn't recommend getting an unrooted Gloriosum in my opinion, because I have a stump of another one that has honestly done nothing. Like, it'll put out a leaf and a root and then it will die, and then it'll put out a leaf or a root, it'll die. I don't know why Gloriosums hate me, because I love you, but in my opinion, I would get a established plant, or at least a rooted cutting at least, so you're not kind of starting from zero and waiting for it to do nothing for months. So I thought that I would take you to the next plant because it is a big boy. It is probably my biggest philodendron in my collection, and that is my Philodendron Silver Sword. So let's go have a look. I apologize on how backlit it is right now, but this is my Philodendron Silver Sword, and he a big boy. I recently got 2 more babies, so these 2 to put in the bottom here so that it does not look like just one giant vine. But I can definitely say that it is a fast grower. It has some gorgeous silvery blue foliage, and it's just absolutely stunning. It is a very unique looking plant, and I've had to just kind of support it on this stick. At some point I might get it a moss pole, because look at them aerial roots. Like, they're going crazy. They wanna climb onto something. And I recently chopped it right here, and this is the new growth coming out the top. You can see how weird this new leaf is. I love how when plants have just been propped or chopped on the top, they come out with the weirdest looking leaves and then they start to go back to normal. So that is the newest leaf there. So pretty exciting. I would definitely recommend getting this in your collection if you want something that's very, very fast growing and very rewarding. So the last two philodendrons I own are two that live outside, so you may have seen that in my balcony tour. But the first one is my beautiful Philodendron Bipennifolium, or horsehead philodendron. So you can probably see why it is called a horsehead philodendron. It kind of looks like a horse, you know, snout kind of thing with the little ears. But this one, I have grown it from cutting and it hasn't done anything as of yet. It has rooted up, but no new leaves. So I can't really say if it's a fast grower or not. Quite slow to propagate in terms of, you know, getting it to do something. But hopefully when it starts taking off, it's going to be really rewarding. But I love how big these leaves are. It's definitely a statement look on my balcony. And oh, I just love it. It's a cool looking green color as well. It's not super dark, which I like. And let's just hope that it does something soon. And we have the classic heartleaf philodendron. So this one is everywhere at your normal garden centers, at Bunnings. You can get this one for very, very cheap. And it has these beautiful heart-shaped leaves, and it is a vining plant, so it just grows everywhere. It's definitely not my favorite philodendron I have in my collection. I'm sorry, I know, but it is a staple, obviously. I just don't like the way mine looks. Like, she raggedy, and I've been chopping and propping, and hopefully I can make her look more bushy within a few months, and then I will love her more. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this like leggy, scraggly look. You can definitely see some pictures of some beautiful heartleaf philodendrons where they're looking lush. But yeah, mine's not like that. So it's definitely one that just lives outside. But if you want something super easy in your collection, then I would definitely recommend this. Alright guys, so those are all the philodendrons I have in my collection, or all the ones that I actually remembered to put in the video. I'm sure I probably missed one, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, then hit subscribe because I post 2 plant videos every single week, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Alright, bye!